Yeah.
What does ready have to do with anything?
So I was in the back of this police. Oh,
All right,
no,
funny story, real quick before we get started.
yeah.
So we stayed down at this fish camp in Apalachicola, and Saturday morning we get up, and so we stay in this big ranch-style house. It sleeps like 16 people, and we get up, and it's got this big den. It's kind of like a great room, and we walk in there, and there's this strange person on our couch, com- practically comatose, just sitting there with his head down, com- just passed out. We had no idea who he was. So we rouse him up and we get him outside. He tries to get in my truck to leave. We're like, nope, that's not your car. And then there's a guy in the building next to us, kind of looking around with a flashlight. And we said, is this the guy you're looking for? He goes, yep. He just wandered into our place. We thought about, shaving cream in the ears and
Yeah.
doing all the
Yeah.
fun stuff, but thought,
Yeah.
nah, better of it. So, yeah, it was kind of fun.
I just saw Pierre Tarantelli on his feedback on APG of the DC-3 on floats, which is such a fantastic look. And they had video of it they were showing. And so always nice to see Peter out and about.
Yes.
Wendy, who shared the best pictures of the week.
Yes, I saw that.
So, yeah,
Just was not jealous of those pictures at all.
exactly.
Very cool. All right. Looks like we've got a great crowd tonight.
Send it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Am I ready?
Sure.
Welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast. What is it like to become a pilot in midlife? The challenges are unique, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences. You definitely should not take any advice too seriously from an aviation podcast that uses terms like icing on the vegetables. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast, where we share the experiences and challenges of flying in midlife. My name is Ben. I'm a pilot based in the Atlanta metro area, and joining me tonight, my friends Brian in Nashville. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. And always, it's our friend Ted in Portland, OR.
Hey.
Good evening.
Hey, glad to be here. Also glad my weather's warmer than yours.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to start taking antidepressants. Oh, wait a minute. The FAA is listening. Sorry. It's been overcast and cold here.
Yeah.
And it's just hasn't been fun. Tonight's going to be an information whiskey episode. We'll catch up with everybody. We got a little bit of listener feedback and just going to just have a chill evening tonight. How's that sound to you guys?
Love it. We're due for a whiskey after all the holiday shenanigans.
Hey, I do have to apologize. The last whiskey turned out very poorly, and it was my fault. I didn't have my spotted cow out. So, it's the only time I break into the spotted cow is for information whiskey. So here we go.
And for the record, our friend AJ had a Friendsgiving last night, and he broke out his spotted cow as well. So
Nice.
I am juiced up and ready to go for that.
And he had duck.
He had duck confit. AJ's quite the
He's
chef.
so fancy. Yeah.
He's a Renaissance man. God help us
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
That's where the Lord part comes from.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Got a great crowd in the chat tonight. If you're listening to the audio version of this, you can check us out on youtube.com/@midlifepilotpodcast and see our ugly mugs ramble on. Tonight, let's go ahead and hit the events. We are still moving along with the Thaden invasion.
Evasion.
We're Bentonville, Arkansas. The airport code is Victor Bravo Tango, March 13th through the 15th in 2026. The RSVPs are rolling in, guys. You can go to our website at midlifepilotpodcast.com, and there you'll see a link to it. And let us know that you're coming, because I got to say, they don't have unlimited parking there. So let us know, and hopefully soon we'll be continuing the conversation with the folks there at Thaden Field, and we'll have more details. We've got some other things in the works going on.
Yeah, and I guess if you do RSVP, we have an option for you to say, I'm pretty sure I'm coming,
Yeah.
but I'm not totally sure, and that's fine. Those will be the ones that when we are meeting with the airport, we're not going to count those unsures because we're going to have enough of our hands with the totally sures, but everything will get figured out. And obviously we've talked about it. There's a million airports in the area really close by. Worst case scenario, it'll be something like that. But I think it's going to work out. I think that the one thing, what have we learned, guys? For all these,
the more we plan, the more crazy things happen that don't go according to plan.
And nobody cares. Just
send
it.
Somehow it all works out.
Yes.
It always just works out.
Yeah.
Works out better than we expected. Hopefully we'll have a couple of spots for centralized location for everybody to kind of gather and share stories. And
we appreciate those of you who are willing to take a chance on such a clearly ill-conceived plan. To make plans around our ill-conceived plans takes a lot of guts. And so
those were my wedding vows.
I wish I was at that wedding. That would have been
Okay.
A lot of fun.
So I am the ultimate introvert, right? So wedding number 2, there were 5 of us there. The head of city council that married us, and her husband number 1 and partner, and then the 2 of us. We were in St. Paul, Minnesota. The Uber driver was waiting. That's how long my ceremony took. Literally, the Uber is waiting. So that's the introvert way to do a wedding. Just saying.
I thought this was in Portlandia for some reason, and when you the city council, I was just thinking, this really is Portlandia. You got the mayor there. It's real.
I was
St.
wondering
Paul
if I
is
didn't
pretty
see that
close.
on an episode of Portlandia. I mean, it just sounds so familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to hit a comment real quick. Looks like we've got a new viewer.
Nice.
Christopher Bowers, 7219 Midlife Pilot Podcast. Good evening, all. I love the content. Currently working on my private check ride on the way. We wish you the best of luck. Keep us posted, please, on how that goes. Send us an email and give us the details.
Yes.
So,
And and don't forget that we have lots of check ride debriefs in our Patreon for you to go and learn from others, the good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly just helpful stuff. So, I don't think. I mean, I'm working towards my instrument and my instrument check ride and all that, and I think about the anxiety of that versus the anxiety of private. And as I'm seeing it now, private's got to be by far the most anxiety-inducing thing because you just don't know what you don't know. I think we've talked about this before. So,
Yes.
but the end result is this: everybody says the same thing. You learn a lot, you have fun, and it's not nearly what you think it will be. It'll be a good experience. So just try to relax into it if you can. But keep your head on a swivel.
But over prepare and stress about it. It'll be fine. But that's what we tend to do in midlife, right? Like you're probably not going to go in and it's like, that's right. My check ride's today. Let's see how this goes.
I love how there's so many universal things that are common about the experience for a lot of us. The idea that everybody seems to have the worst flight of their life right before the check ride.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know why that is, but it seems to be pretty common.
My favorite phrase in Discord is, maybe I'm overthinking this. And that's like, as a midlifer, It's like I like to breathe. I like to overthink. They're
Yeah.
one and the same in my opinion.
Well,
They're just
and really, it's only 50% of the time is it Wendell Geek saying that. So,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
hey, do you guys see the comment we had about the fly-in?
in the chat
I'll
right
read
now.
it. I'll
Yeah,
read it.
please
It was
go ahead.
from it was on Patreon from somebody who signed up and was new, I think last week. That's Misty H, and
yeah.
she said, "I stumbled upon the Midlife Pilot podcast and really like it. It's entertaining, informative, and relevant to my life. I look forward to every episode. I'm preparing to schedule my check ride, and my goal is to attend the March fly-in. Thanks, guys, for a great podcast." Thanks, Misty.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, all you people that are here before your check ride, and let's see, Corey, who's new in the comments and is starting next year, this is the great time to listen and get feedback from people. Like, the earlier in the process that you can ask questions, the better it is. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And maybe with Misty, we could do as part of the live podcast, we do a quick debrief in front of a live audience.
There you go.
We would like this person to attend.
Good point. Good point.
Look,
So,
our RSVP list went down by one.
Let's check in with recent flying experiences. I'll just tell you right now, the weather's been very crappy. I have not flown since I came back from North Carolina from my multi-check ride. And I've got several flights scheduled. I went to a party last night, and I made a couple of decent contacts that I'm very excited about. Not necessarily paying gigs, but some great experience gigs. So there'll be hopefully more on that in the coming weeks.
That's awesome.
Brian, what have you been up to?
Well, obviously, I don't have as many community service opportunities as you do on the horizon, but or anything other. I don't have any punitive things, but
I was going to say, I mean, I've worked off most of my community service, but that's for another podcast, maybe.
I have. I think it's interesting. You had this big build up for the multi check ride, and then there's a period of let down where you kind of have to just let your brain and your consciousness sort of relax for a minute. And this weather and the holiday and everything else certainly has helped, I think, both of us not do a lot of flying. So after I passed the instrument written, I'm not sure that I've flown. Maybe I did once, but just kind of local. I've done maybe some hangar things, but yeah, nothing of any consequence or note. And I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. You guys know how much I love instrument knowledge test and so many things about instrument. You guys know how much I love all this. So I am taking the IGI test in a couple days here,
Oh, awesome.
or a few days. So, same test as instrument written, 10 less questions, and I guess a little bit of helicopter thrown in. So
Weird.
it is.
I'm going to
weird.
make a
Totally
prediction.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
20 years from now, there's going to be an award for the best instrument ground instructor in the country. And I'm going to be the one presenting the award to Brian, saying, I remember a time when he used to complain about these exams and incessantly.
And I'll stand up there and I'll say I still hate a lot of this, but I just did this out of spite, and spite is very motivating. No, no, it's fine. It's fine. So I guess what's going to be interesting is there's more gravity on each question now. So I'm wondering if that will help or hurt. And then also I haven't fully brain dumped, but I have let myself relax. And so I got to get back to the studying, again, just to kind of review everything. So, but yeah, so do the IGI on Thursday because, I don't know, maybe I'm working on some things. Maybe I want to be Ben when I grow up.
There you go.
Strive higher, my friend. Strive higher. Ted, what have you been up to, sir?
Well, I won't log it, but I got some instrument actual this week. I drove to the coast, and that means I went over some of the mountains. And yeah, so it was very low to the ground. But yeah, no, this has just been kind of winter time for us, and I've got the plane, kind of partly apart for maintenance and everything else. So yeah.
I got you. Yeah, I don't have. I wish I had some recent flying experiences, but like I said, I've got a couple on the books if Mother Nature will comply. But I want to hit Nathan's comment here, so I can finally log this podcast as dual received legally. And Nathan, if you'll play it at half speed, you can log twice the time.
I've got to hit what Doug F said in the comments, which is, I loved my private check ride. Someone wanted to ask me aviation questions. So yeah, that, yeah, I like that. We all love talking about aviation.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's,
of course, I mean, for what you're paying them, I mean, I think there's cheaper ways to go about this, but
yeah. And I guess you still get the sort of critical, skeptical looks.
Too funny.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of DPE tactics could be used by spouses,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
My wife does that all the time. She does question probably 80% of the things I suggest. And as we said before the podcast started, I'm going to start issuing notices of disapproval to my kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Just, if nothing else, for the pure satisfaction of it. Unfortunately, they're older now, and it doesn't really mean a lot, but I'll still do it.
That's a pretty good merch idea, actually. I think we should make a pad that is
Disapproval. Yeah.
just
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I've got to hit Wendell Geek's comment talking about the cost of paying a DPE to talk aviation. He said, I suspect I could pay my friends a little less to listen to me talk about aviation. I think your friends would pay you if you talked less about aviation. So,
Gas for the airplane. I think we may be onto something.
yes.
Well, and speaking of being on something,
Yeah.
onto something. If anybody is a new listener here hasn't figured out that every 4 weeks we do an information whiskey episode, which means that we kind of don't really have a plan here, and we just respond to the chat and things like that. I just want people to. We're getting to the point in the episode where you're probably expecting something to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say we have 13% of a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there are some new listeners that have regret about now, which is, what am I listening to?
Yeah, how's
that count start dropping? There it went, just down, down, down.
Well, let me just
Brian,
knock
why don't we
out
keep it on the
yeah.
rails, and let's go ahead and hit the housekeeping, the belly.
We'll hit it
strap.
real quick. Well, if you guys can join our Patreon community for Discord access and lots of exclusive content, 10% supports Freedom Aviation Network's anti-human trafficking efforts, and for everything Midlife Pilot Podcast, feedback, merch, and more, visit midlifepilotpodcast.com. People have already been finding the shirt, so
That's
I've
awesome.
only made a couple of subtle mentions of it. It's interesting to see, but we'll just keep it that way for now until we have assured parking. But anyway, Ted, tell us about the new patrons.
Yeah. So I want to thank the people who have joined us in Patreon in the last week. And at the Landomatic level, that's Matt L. At the Hershey Bar level, that's Jason S. So thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Sorry. Over in Discord accomplishments land, I wrote down kind of things that I've seen in the last week. Edgar N. had their first solo. It's always awesome to see. Wendy gets pictures of the week for the photo she posted. I think she posted those today, which is beautiful shots.
Unreal.
There were a bunch of people that hit our accomplishments. I'm not going to talk about the numbers, but people that crossed a number that was meaningful to them is Barry, Josh M, Scott P, Adam V. Alyssa had her third birthday. That's aviation birthday. And Josh M filed his first IFR flight plan. And then ForeFlight does a log recap every year, makes great maps, and it's like Spotify's recap, I think. And so people have been posting those in community chat, and You're welcome to do that, even if you don't drink the ForeFlight Kool-Aid. I know there've been some non-ForeFlight images in there. That's great. It's just a lazy way for us to show like where we've flown. It was really cool to see the Tango 82 flights on a lot of people's maps. So I
Yeah.
really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, one little jaunt sticking out.
Yeah, exactly.
That is one thing that Garmin Pilot will not do, or at least I haven't figured out how to do it yet. So I'm gonna have to go do it manually, and I'm kind of jealous of that. I'll tell you that right now.
Virgil posted something that was mapped out. I assumed that was Garmin Pilot, but I guess not.
Maybe it was.
110
I'll
or
have to check
something.
that out.
Yeah.
Well, there's also Google My Maps and just keeping track of all the airports that you've
Yeah.
been to. So you can do that, which by the way, for those in Discord, there is a channel I think somewhere where people just have all of those. You can just click on everybody's
Yes.
maps and see every place that they've been. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. And it has
Yeah.
it has home airports as well. So if you join and you're like, I wonder if anybody lives near me, you can see that. Hit a couple other things here. Wendell Geek pointed out that we had a great conversation about standard pattern entry in Canada and how it is completely different than in the US. And I looked at the diagrams and I just kind of gave up. And Wendy noted that her beautiful pictures were from a commercial long cross country. So
Oh yeah.
that was that explains why she had good pictures. It was a long flight. So yeah.
I finally went and watched her instrument check ride debrief all the way through because I had seen parts of it, but I had not just really gone through the whole thing, and it was really good, really good. I really appreciated that, Wendy.
Yeah.
And everybody who's given us that. It's just everybody does YouTube research, for check rides and for various things, and you can definitely find things on YouTube, but to have a little bit of a protective shell from the entire public sphere of criticism and nonsense, people tend to open up a little bit more, and it's just there's nothing performative about it. It's just been really helpful to me. I just think it's what a sort of self-serving thing, right? It's like we start this podcast and build this community and start cataloging all these check ride debriefs, and then now I can just, as I'm going through them, reference them, and it's a resource for me. This is
There's
great.
the long game. Well, I've got to credit Wendy especially on that one because Wendy is one of the people who does what I like, which is talk about the emotional side and it's not just the mechanical flying skills, it's also the stress and anxiety and all these feelings you have, and that's stuff that CFIs generally don't handle well, that we need to talk about. Like we're saying about over preparing for check rides. Like I couldn't talk to my CFI about that. They didn't understand that concept. And
No.
but in this community, I don't know. I see people that are like me, I guess.
Yeah, she had some good solutions and tactics and practices that she had gone through that seemed helpful. She also said something that I had not heard before. In all of the utterances you hear of everything aviation, you hear aviate, navigate, communicate. You hear all these things that everybody knows. But I think she said this. Yes, it was because she said Source-Morse-Course. Have you heard that, Ben?
I have not. I was on. I think I was on that debrief, but I definitely watched it, and I heard that, and it just really it resonated very well.
So
I didn't catch that.
Identify
That's
the
crazy.
source, GPS or ILS, and Morse is the Morse code, so you can identify, make sure it's up, and then course set your final
well,
course.
that's been things like that are super helpful to me right now because what I'm trying to figure out, and obviously you guys can give us feedback. You can give me personal tips or just tell me to stop for the love of God or whatever. But I'm trying to get my flow together, and I've got pretty close to 800 hours of VFR flying and instrument training or whatever that I've got hacked in there. But I'm just saying, after a lot of VFR flying in busy environments and blah 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 blah, I totally understand the value of having a good flow for all of these things. And with instrument, I'm still, so anytime, Source-Morse-Course, that's exactly right. So anytime I see any little things like that, like the 5 T's, yes, you can say the 5 T's 1,000 times. There's actually 6 T's. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, there's just little hiccups in my flow, my rhythm that I'm trying to build. So any little things like that, if anybody has any flow building techniques, this is not about, checklists to death, because I don't want to use them as to-do lists. I need more flow.
I want to add to that, because you just kind of said something that I think with every additional rating that you get, and actually if you think about it, going back to private, there are flows for everything, and some of them you need to be from memory. So to your point, the better you can train your brain to start understanding and developing these flows, I think the better off you're going to be. Because I'll still tell you, at night, I'm still going mixtures forward, props forward, throttles forward, identify, verify. I'm still doing my multi stuff just because I hit it so hard that it's still staying in my head.
Yeah.
So keep doing that, because it's going to serve you well, I think, going forward.
And then your wife's like, will you come out of the bathroom? What are you doing in there?
I'm going to have rotator cuff surgery because I'm still hold my throttles way up high up here. So
yeah.
I want to hit our friend Chuck's comment about the Garmin Pilot, if I may.
Yeah.
So the thing I was referencing.
There's only so many people watching this. So what did Chuck say?
I'm trying to get back to it, so I was trying to stall, but thanks.
Here we go. Chuck said, if someone knows how to do the annual map in Garmin Pilot, let me know.
So the thing that I was referencing was actually in ForeFlight. I think you could just click a button and it shows it out there.
Yeah.
Garmin Pilot, you can set the date range for the last calendar year, and it'll show you the maps. It doesn't show you in a graphical picture that ForeFlight does, but you can kind of come up with something very similar to it.
Do you know how when you're listening to a podcast, you can hear when people are saying, the hosts are saying things that are completely misinformed or misguided or just outright wrong? I feel like we're probably about a 50% success rate for anything that we talk about. I can feel the presence of these imaginary people that are just,
we are
like they're just trying to drive right now, but they're almost about to pull off the road because they've already 3 different times just thought, oh my gosh.
But in true midlife fashion, we seem to kind of come back around to the right answer eventually.
Stick around.
We're going to get there.
Yeah.
This is a very complicated way to just raise cortisol production among people.
Which, Wendy, what say you about cortisol production? Is that
exactly?
Is that something we should
the hair in the back of her neck just went up. Like, oh no. Yeah. I noticed that our friend Checkmate Barry is having a good conversation about flows and callouts in the chat, and there's nothing we really want to bring in the conversation right now, but there's a lot of what do we do about updating flows when you get into new planes, and I'm just going to hijack a little bit of that, which is a lot of that is the same from plane to plane and just adding on things. So I'm just summarizing that conversation that's going on there, which is pretty cool to see. Like, yeah. That's like actual content happening during this podcast. So yeah.
But not here.
Not here.
Yeah, exactly.
Not on the podcast.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, sorry. Yeah.
So let's do some.
One Geek says, coming to the right answer, a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's right. Let's do some feedback.
Let's.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll read. Let's see, we got. Wait, there's feedback, and then there's a review, and then there's another feedback.
Tell you what, I'm going to read the first one because it's short, and I like listening to you guys talk on the longer ones. So our friend Hakan, who is in Discord, and I think he has done a check our debrief, was talking about EFBs, and he said, at least over in Europe, Sky Demon is a very valid alternative to ForeFlight, especially as it has the elevation profile feature in the basic, which is the only subscription level, for about 120. which is euros, but close enough. For ForeFlight, you have to shell out $300 plus maps, which is another $70 in Germany. So the difference is about 3 more hours of flying, is what he's saying. I know they love Sky Demon over there, and it makes sense. And occasionally I see what the maps look like in Europe, and it just breaks my brain. So, yeah, our airspace is so simple compared to theirs.
It sounds like a Stranger Things type of phenomena.
Very much so. I don't know that I want to dive into that because I might bust a vein in my brain or something. You want to hit the next? You want to hit the review, Brian?
Sure. Because the next one, Ben, was directed squarely at you.
Yes, it was.
So stick around for that, folks. This is a review, 5-star review. Thank you very much on our Apple Podcasts from Russ H. He says, the title of the review says, "My go-to aviation podcast." He says, "The Midlife Pilot Podcast is an absolute gem. These guys bring a perfect mix of humor, honesty, and humility to every episode. As someone navigating flying in midlife, it's refreshing to hear real, unfiltered conversations about the joys, frustrations, setbacks, and small victories that come with being a pilot at this stage of life. They don't take themselves too seriously." Gosh, imagine if we did. Oh, gosh. Oh, boy. "They don't take themselves too seriously, and that's what makes it great. You'll laugh, learn, and feel like you're hanging out with friends in the hangar who get what you're going through. Whether you're deep into aviation or just dreaming about taking the yoke, this podcast hits the sweet spot every time, except for every 4th episode."
Or 3 of 4, depending on how you feel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So he says, "These guys have a rich community of experts, from CFIs, commercial pilots, and weather experts that routinely join the podcast and save us from ourselves, basically." Yes, that's what I'm saying. "I really enjoy the non-commercialized podcast and live YouTube Mondays, 7 p.m. Central broadcast. Although I'm sure they wouldn't mind a Garmin or Flying Eyes sponsorship. Highly recommend." Well, I don't think Garmin's knocking down our door just at this moment. But you guys tell me, we really pride ourselves on having an ad-free podcast.
Yeah.
If Garmin comes along and says, Oprah's us with new panels for everybody, how are we going to handle that?
Well, I'm just going to tell you, everybody has a price.
Exactly.
Everybody has a price. I don't know. I listen. If we have to do a personal read, I'd be all right with that. But the ads that are inserted there, like every 15 minutes or so, I would not be for that. That just drives me crazy.
I was out on business, I think 2 weeks ago. That's when we did the doubleheader podcast, and I downloaded a bunch of podcasts while I was out of town, and I have all these dynamic ad insertions from that, and so it's like advertising a grocery store I've never heard of, and like all this kind of and it's like, oh man, there's just such it's nice that people have supported us and that we've been able to keep this not with big ads on the front. So I really appreciate that.
Maybe they just properly scale it. It's like here's a refurb 430s for everybody. Refurb, there's only
we've got a few buttons. 296s, the portable GPS units on the
they just give but they we should be the people. So when they go and they sponsor all the big sort of YouTube people or whatever it is, whatever they pull out of their planes, they should give to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our friend Nathan Ballard's in the chat, and he says, "How about a CPAP or an Icy Hot sponsorship? That's probably more realistic, if anything else."
Yeah.
Hold the Icy Hot. You too can have it with the discount code of Midlife Pilot Podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks so much, Russ, for that. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's we have a hard time sort of accepting how kind that is, this kind of comments are. But I have to say just that the idea that you're saying, that it's just a rich community, but it's kind of just hanging out. That's what we always hoped for, and that's all we're trying to make it. But I also really appreciate how you said, whether you're really deep into aviation or just dreaming about, beginning to fly. That's a really hard thing to try to speak to, because you don't want to bore people that are more accomplished, and at the same time you don't want to leave anybody behind. And so it is a weird dance that we try to do a little bit, and so I think it's working. And so thanks everybody, and thank you, Russ, for that.
Absolutely. I'll hit the next feedback. It's from Dan C, and it was actually from the last episode. You want to hit Chuck's comment real quick?
Chuck said, CPAP, the official sponsor of the Thaden invasion. Our next conversation with the VBT folks is going to be like, listen, we're bringing some heavy hitters in here when they are rested.
Yes,
exactly.
We'll call the hotel and make sure that they have CPAP cleaning utensils.
We're going to need some extension cords in here, folks.
Have you ever gone camping? Like they had it at Osh, but you didn't see it quite as much. But I've been on like bicycling events with like 2,000 people, and they'd have a CPAP section because that's the only place that had power. So it's like all these tents with an extension cord going to them and CPAP machines in them. It's like, that is the most midlife thing ever. So, yeah.
They're all sitting around the campfire comparing, well, this is the unit that I used first. And
right.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right. So this feedback came to us via email, midlifepilotpodcast@gmail.com. It's from Dan C. He says, Ben, just listened to episode 156 and the discussion around the notice of disapproval. I feel like everything you discussed was appropriate. For everything, there's a first. But don't forget that you were in a 3-day program. Although you had some earlier training, the Baron is definitely a different airplane than what you were used to. I own a third of a B-55, and it's very powerful and fast airplane. You had a lot on your plate with the faster airplane, new avionics, and accelerated learning. I've been through these accelerated class 3 times in a Seneca 1 for ME, multi-engine, MEI, and ATP. And it was always stressful and overwhelming. I always wanted just one more flight to prepare. A few years later, I did initial training in a King Air 200 and then a type rating in a Beach Jet 400. Each class I went through, I wanted more time to get more proficient. It was always luck and by the grace of God that I managed to pass. I'm sure that's not true. I know that you have aspirations of professional flying, so you'll get more of this accelerated learning. It doesn't get easier, but I think our brains adjust to the speed of learning. Congratulations on the ME rating, and look into becoming a BE-55 owner. You won't regret it. I would love to be a Baron owner, but that's probably not going to happen for quite some time.
Yeah.
One thing I did, and Brian, I think you and I talked about this while I was training. I felt like the accelerated program was really too much for me, but knowing that where I want to go in my aviation journey, I needed to start to get proficient in this accelerating learning. And why not start now? Why start learning drinking from the hose? I've said it before during instrument training, and you're experiencing this, you will be. I want to get in the habit of having helmet fires because I deal with them easier. You're building that muscle to react to it better. So I felt like this was, I really appreciate the email and the vote of confidence. It's really nice to hear, especially from somebody with the experience that this person has. Thank you very much, Dan C, for reaching out. And that was the main reason why I jumped to the accelerated program, is to start building that muscle.
Yeah.
Dan C, thank you for that. And also send us your address and we'll send you out the first prototype of the notice of disapproval pad.
Yeah.
So you can just, I just think about how handy that'll be. You're waiting for your food and it's just taking forever.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're really onto something.
I think we're really on something.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm going to grab a Wendell Geek's comment. He said, I haven't done multi yet, but I loved accelerated instrument and commercial. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, he's someone who's done those accelerated courses, and I think that's a smart way to go.
I think it comes down to the foundation.
Yeah.
I think that there's accelerated from ground up type of things versus accelerated that's really just the speeding the conveyor for the last 35% or something, and those things can vary widely. But I think that for multi, you're unfortunately just in a position where you're just kind of you're just getting in that. You're not casually, I mean, unless you happen to be in an environment where you've got a bunch of buddies that have a bunch of multi planes around and you get to just kind of go up in them all the time. You're not even really having exposure. So,
And if you're in that situation, can you reach out to me?
yeah.
Yes. I'll say I was really getting a feel for the airplane during my check ride, basically. Everything felt really comfortable by that point. I do want to hit a comment that was made earlier from somebody in the chat at JJ Debs. He made this point, and I think it's worth mentioning. The question is how hard it is to update an existing flows to make them better. It's hard changing once you first pick up. That law of primacy does he brings a good point there. So you got to be willing to adapt, especially for me going forward. It's going to be a lot of different airplanes, and I think that in and of itself would be good for me to being more adaptive.
Yeah. How many hours did you have when you did your multi-check ride?
Right at about 1265,
Sorry.
1270.
How many multi-hours did you have when you did your multi-check ride?
I was right at 25.
Okay.
Yeah, 1,200 hours in a multi, and I finally figured it out.
Accelerated by what standard?
Yeah, exactly.
You accelerated your instructor's bank account.
Well, it's relative to Ben, so
A sliding scale.
Yes.
Sliding scale.
Yeah.
The story of my life. So, are you okay, Mr. Siskin?
I'm gonna make it. Usually I mute my coughs, but sometimes they just happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of come up a lot, but just the idea of we're lucky to have Barry in our community, and Checkmate Aviation is our unofficial, not sponsor. We just like to mention cool things that our friends are doing, right? And it always ends up being so directly relevant. But I think it's fascinating how, and if you guys haven't seen the episode with Barry on it to get the whole story, go back and check it out. But just the idea that a new pilot takes over as such a storied thing, and then has to really consciously engineer and re-engineer something that's kind of proven out for a long time, but is always due for modifications.
Yeah.
And how do you the governance of that kind of audit, I find to be fascinating.
Yeah. Do you both of you have a good number of hours in your planes? Do you find yourself kind of revisiting your flows?
Great question. I would say after my check ride, you have nerves when you get a notice of disapproval. You also have, excited nerves when you pass. And in both of those occasions, the owner of the flight school, when I was getting ready to come back after the notice of disapproval, he said, sit in that plane for 5 minutes and don't do anything, and then read your checklist because you're going to miss stuff. And he was right. I did that, and I still missed some things. But I found myself the last 2 or 3 flights is really kind of digging back into the checklist. And I tell you something else that I did recently was Barry. We got his IFR checklist, and I found that very, very helpful. And again, this is not a paid announcement or promotion. But I was just looking. I've got over 100 hours IMC. I've flown a lot of instrument approaches.
Yeah.
I still find that helpful because there's going to be a period of time where I don't fly an IMC, and those are perishable skills. And it's nice to have that as a backup.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to totally curveball sabotage this podcast, but I'm going to.
Yes, please. We need some curveballs.
That's all right. We got a little bit extra time here, and I just wanted to. I've been trying to figure out if this is something I wanted to talk about or not, but I feel like it's a decent time to do it. So
Brace yourself, Ted.
Oh man. Well, it's been nice being on. So
Ben, no, it's actually quite a serious thing. So sorry about that, but
okay.
I have been very strangely affected by the crash of the Aztec in the mountains of Montana. And I wanted to just tell the audience the story about that a little bit, only because I just saw right before we came on the preliminary report. Blanco Lirio was talking about it, and I was looking it over. So, and you guys kind of know a little bit of the background on this, but I just thought I would share this more widely because it just has made me think about a lot of things. So, if you guys aren't familiar with this really tragic fatal crash, a father and two daughters out of Alabama in a Aztec got caught in icing and perished. And the weird thing about that is that when that happened, a couple days, 24 hours before that accident happened, I was also in Alabama, and I was with a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a while, and I landed at Huntsville Exec, parked right next to this Aztec. I'd never seen it before, didn't know the guy, and I just walked by and I just said, "Hey, beautiful plane." The interior of it was kind of like yours, Ben, super cush, old school. And, I saw the dog in there, and then, I was talking to him and talking about the plane, and, ended up in one of those conversations you get into sometimes, for about 10 minutes with this man. And he said he was waiting for his daughters. His daughters come walking up. One is, I think 21 years old, Delta cadet, CFI on her way to the airlines. The other, slightly younger, I think a senior in high school. So they come up, and so, they were super kind and nice. And they asked me, of course, they were like, "Hey, can you take our picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. And so I, took their phone, one of the daughter's phone, and took a picture of them. And then I took a picture of them again, and I was like, "Okay, let me get a few more. Here, let me put it in portrait mode for you because I know how you guys like that." And kind of made them laugh a little bit. Took the picture, and then that was it. And then I just carried on, and it wasn't until I didn't even hear about this accident until a couple of days later. And then Blanco Lirio comes on, and I started seeing reports everywhere of this accident, and the picture was the exact picture that I took of them. So every report, every article, every news thing, it made national news. Every video about it, everything. It's the picture that I took of them, and it's been disturbing for a long time because I didn't. That day I was pretty much just kind of, I couldn't really function because I didn't know how to feel about it. Because on one hand, I didn't know these people, but on the other hand, it's super tragic, and you empathize whether you know the people or not. But also just the curious nature of talking to them 24 hours before this happened. Just how sad it is for the mom, who was waiting for them there, and the whole family, including the dog, doesn't make it. I mean, I just can't even. It's just one of the most tragic things I've heard of. I mean, we hear about these different things all the time, different accidents and tragedies, and you kind of, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm desensitized to it, but we've all probably lost some people. We've had some things going on. Mike Alpha Golf and his folks down in New Orleans. You know, he's out running Civil Air Patrol, looking in the lake, you know, for people, you know, just a reminder that this is a serious business. And so we like to have fun and all of that. But man, this stuff can come back to you in really, really weird ways. But I just had to share something about that, not to be at any larger conclusion, but just how freakishly strange it was for me to just see these. There's something about having taken that picture that is so haunting to me, because everywhere I see it, they were looking at me, and I was making them laugh. And it's also the last time that this father was probably pictured with his two daughters. So, and there's a lot of other, you know, the particulars of the accident and whatever, not really to be discussed, but for this, but I just wanted to bring all that up to say that that's something that just keeps kind of coming up. And it happened again right before I came on here, where I saw, you know, Blanca O'Leary's video came on, and it's so surreal and so bizarre. And it's not about me or my feelings, you know, but it's just, I just feel really, really bad for all the folks around all that. And just just a strange experience to just sort of glance these people in this kind of momentary way, right before all of that happened, and to have a document of that interaction in that way was like, I never saw the picture, you know, I didn't exchange number with them and say, oh, send me the picture. You know, I just knew that as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. The time warp that my brain had to do to start wrapping my head around what this was all about and who was involved and what was happening was a very strange origami. But
So
anyway, that's all.
I think when you cross paths with somebody, and this goes out to Mike Alphagoff as well, whether you've known them for 5 minutes or 5 years or for their lifetime, sharing that joyous moment with them and then knowing 24 hours it was gone, I think it absolutely hits home. I think a lot of us feel that tragedy having never met them, just knowing that we have families of our own and they can happen to us. I felt I'd never crossed paths with the Tennessee Fly Girl, but we
I was
were
thinking of
all
her, too.
watching her videos and, you know, kind of worried about how this was going. And I feel like there's a lot of people that felt some level of responsibility for not speaking up more, or not that we could have. We're all keyboard warriors when it comes to the comments, but there is that feeling of the tragedy of someone you knew, although you really didn't know them.
Yeah, but it's almost like
it hits, man. It absolutely hits. And then for folks, like I said, Mike Alphagoff had an instructor and a student perish in a crash, and then they had one more recently with, I think it was a DPE. But even if you didn't know them, that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. And I also think, quite frankly, as a midlifer, we're probably a little bit more aware of the gravity, maybe, than others.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we've collected more people in our lives than we did when we were younger, and we just kind of by the numbers have more of these situations. And not necessarily aviation. This can happen in a lot of different ways, right? But encountering your own mortality in others is something that, my brain at 18 didn't understand very much.
Right.
And it's some of the it's some of the sweetest moments of my life is that experience with people, and bittersweet moments. And you know, one of my first tattoos is from a really good friend. But it's and you know, I don't want to talk about the TN Fly Girl thing too much. We crossed paths with her quite a bit among this community. But it's the good example of why we try to have the ethos of speak up if you don't like something that I'm doing. And I'd rather you tell me what it is you saw in a flight that you didn't like than not say something.
That's
And
right.
100%.
Again, I hate that I have to tie her name to this because it's not about that. And she was an amazing person. And there are many reasons that's a really unfortunate thing. Aside from that, in every other way, this is what we do is can be dangerous. It certainly has a higher fatality rate than many things in life. I've done the numbers myself on where that fatality rate hits, but this is not commercial aviation, right? This is
Right.
not stepping on Delta and flying to DC, where where it is truly safer than driving. This is not that, and this is serious, and yeah, the words are hard to come on this, right? But it is such a serious thing, and
Yeah.
and it is we joke around, but there's a reason that it usually comes back to safety in various ways and in kind of that personal growth. So
Yeah, and also the fact that is also why we are painfully always saying what we are qualified to say, which is
Yes.
virtually nothing.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and by the way, our friend Paul Craig
Yeah.
is going to have his third edition of the Killing Zone out. When?
Soon.
Do you know?
Soon. so ASA, the company that what is
Yeah.
it, aviation safety and aeronautic, whatever they are in the process of relocating from Washington to Michigan, and it's like all this stuff has like happened like as his book is trying to get out, and they're the ones that put the book out. So it was supposed to come out early fall. It isn't out yet, but it's coming very soon, and yeah, looking forward to seeing more from him.
I want to hit Mike Alpha Golf's
Yes.
comment. I think this is very good. He says, we have been talking about grief in New Orleans and how we all process it differently. Having respect for how others process it and giving ourselves the grace to do it in our own way. I mean, that's very well said, very well summed up.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we do on this podcast is we absolutely celebrate those no-go decisions.
Yeah.
When you feel like it's not good, it doesn't matter why you feel like it's not good. We want to applaud you for that.
Well, let me
Because-
give an example there of Richard Yankee 88, right? Who flew from Michigan to New Orleans and then drove to Texas because he couldn't make it safely. That is a bigger accomplishment than flying to Texas.
Yep.
Right. I agree with that. Very good.
To put it in a slightly different way, the term that I keep saying, I don't say it enough on the podcast. I don't think that this is too old for people, but being in aviation has made me realize there's a countable number of summers in my life, and that didn't feel that way when I was younger, right? Like, and that realizing that value of life and the experience with other people and the experiences you can have. So, yeah.
Yep. I like this comment from Greg. He says, tell me that I should do something differently so you won't tell others that you saw me doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Speak up. Absolutely. What else, gentlemen? Anything else for the good of the order?
I'll just throw one thing out there, which
Please.
is, we all know that the FAA is not great about anything to do with mental health. Think that's fair to say?
I think that's very fair to
Yeah.
say.
And while we offer no sanctioned or official guidance in those respects, we are empathetic to that, and we do offer a community for people to have a place of total support. There's not we don't have to have any rules for our Discord because people understand inherently that what's being embodied there is too clear to go against and to start being, I don't know, there's not a bunch of competitive stuff. There are constructive disagreements or perhaps gainings of understanding, but I'm not saying it's a completely sterile, positive, sort of place in that sense. But it is a place, one more place where you can find people to connect with, and everybody's got something going on, whether they've lost somebody or whatever it is. So, find the right resources for what you need, but we do have at least some kind of, hangout. So that's what we've got. That's what we bring to the table. But anyway, super cool. Thanks for letting me kind of just derail the vibe with all of that.
Something needed to get off your chest, and the chat has quickly agreed with that and are appreciative of the comments. So
yeah, well, this is clearly we don't script this stuff. I don't know. It happened. Like I said, it happened right before I came on. I just thought, man, I don't know. I didn't feel like this a couple weeks ago when it happened a few weeks ago, whatever it was, a month ago. I didn't feel this way then. But now I just felt like I needed to kind of just put it out. I needed to go out there with it. So good lessons to be learned probably from that whole scenario. So keep your eye on for the final report of that, and go check out the preliminary report, and don't repeat the, that's all we can do, right? That's the way to honor people, is to not repeat the same mistakes that other people have made, if you can at all keep from making them. Don't let people's peril go completely in vain. So when you're thinking about, should I just go direct, inner, or should I really think about my route? Or am I subject to get theritis because people are waiting on us? Or I don't know. Just think about that stuff. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I had chosen tonight's bit of wisdom well before all of this discussion came up, but I do believe it's pretty fitting. A good laugh and a long sleep are the two best cures. Signing off, episode 157 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Take care.